Yo, what's good, guys? Again, absolutely fucking cooked today. I'm on a little bit of a fucking heater right now, not gonna lie. Feeling pretty good. Um, as you can see, we're up 2,700 bucks on the week, which is fucking awesome. If I didn't have such a shitty week last week, I'd pretty much be ready to take another payout. I believe I need 2 more days on this account, maybe only one. I'm not 100% sure, but I need to get my balance up about another $1,000. So I don't want to rush it anyways. So hopefully we can get another payout by Friday. That'd be fucking awesome. But yeah, ended up taking 4 trades today, not 19. If you guys are new to the channel, I do tend to size into trades quite often. And the way Top Step works is it will basically every time you add a contract to a position, it'll count it as a trade. I can show you guys here. I'm not hiding anything. You can see on the 14th, which was today, I started with 4 here. This trade ended at 648, added 2 in there. This trade started at 708. That was a single trade. This one started at 710 and ended at 805. That went all the way up to here, so you can see I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into that one, so that was 11. And this one here started with 3, ended with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So sized in very heavily, 4 trades. First one I got kind of fucked on. I'll explain to you guys in a minute, but $350 win on the first one, $350 loss on the second one, $150 win on the third one, and then a $1,360 win on the fourth one. So why I got fucked on the first trade? Well, if you guys have been watching, I did have this account, which is fresh. I just passed it this morning on the first trade, and I activated it, and I go to add it into my trade copier. And it probably told me this. I'm probably just an idiot. This probably wasn't Top Step's fault. But when I added it, closed my position. So I basically had to re-enter right after. I was up pretty big in profit, and my stops are break even, and I never would have got stopped out, I don't think. But it did close me out, unfortunately, and then that's what led me to take the loss today. But didn't matter anyways. We still made $1,150 on this account, and then $1,500 across the other two. This one is sitting at a pretty healthy balance. I've only traded on it for 4 days, and the new one obviously good balance as well. But let's get right into this. So very crucial today, we had PPI. Also, there was a bunch of news about the war, Trump possibly starting talks again, which was super bullish. As you can see, we pumped like crazy today. I believe we started right about here as pre-market. So we pumped about 412 points today. More like 350 if you actually do it properly, but still a very good pump. Obviously, we had a bunch of sell side. I was actually pretty bearish today, not going to lie, because the whole straight being block thing and negotiations weren't in place till today. And then we had these two stacked session lows right here that I wanted to see get hit. On the buy side, all we really had was this hourly high, and then these two big gaps up here. Obviously, this one wasn't filled, but this one had been tapped into, not filled. But coming into market open, obviously, we had PPI at 530, and that left us with this nice wick. Again, another reason why I wanted to go short. We come up with PPI, we sweep this hourly high, we wick this 4-hour gap here, and that leaves us with this gap up here and this hourly high. So that being said, it did leave us with a pretty nice long opportunity, but I was worried we were going to explode right off market open, which is exactly what happened. I was somewhat tempted to go short, considering we did inverse this gap here, and we did inverse this one down here. But with it being so bullish lately, I was still a little bit hesitant And we also had tapped into a 15-minute gap right here that was unfilled. Or sorry, we hadn't tapped into that, but we had that 15-minute gap there that was unfilled, and we were trading very close to it. So if I was going to go short, I wanted to see us close below this, and then that still left us lots of room to target down to these lows. And we didn't end up going down there, and we also wicked into this very, very small hourly gap right here. I know it's tiny, but it still does count for something. So realistically, the longs were still good in my opinion. We also had this 5-minute gap here that we tapped into and respected. So after seeing all that, I was comfortable taking a long position. And like I said, we absolutely exploded off market open. I entered a trade on the Combine pre-market. I got in on this candle here. And I'll show you guys what happened on the top step. On the MNQ, because this is the Nasdaq, right? So this is minis. But on the micro chart, we had this wick right here. Had I been trading micros on the Combine, this would have fried me. This would have taken me out right here and blown the account. We got just a weird on the 1 minute. I think it was even worse. Just a weird out of nowhere, like 17-point wick that came just straight down out of nowhere. And my stop loss was like literally like right about here. So that would have fucked me over. Luckily, I was trading minis, and as you can see, that didn't happen. So my stops, like it missed my stops by like that much. And then we just explode right to TP, which I would have been pissed if it stopped me out there. But I did enter very early pre-market, so that would have been my own fault anyways. But on the live accounts, this was just on 2 accounts. We had this last 1 minute gap that was holding. We blow through that. And I entered originally a negative R trade, but I decided that I might as well just let this ride because we got very strong displacement out of this gap. We had swept all this out, and we did have fair value gaps up here to fill. So my target originally was all the way up here to the middle of this 4-hour gap, which I believe did actually get hit. But like I said, since I passed that Combine right on this first candle, I passed it right about just above this data high here. My account gets enabled, and this is where right here, after we take out this data high and this hourly high, is where I activate my trade copier. And you can see I was in a very good spot. I was comfortably break even. We had this 1 minute gap we were tapping into, and this also was a 3-minute gap we were tapping into. And I had no reason to get out of this trade here. I was comfortably break even, and unfortunately my trade copier took me out, which kind of blows. So that only ended up being a $350 win on 2 accounts. And then I was pissed about that, obviously. So I re-enter literally right away, and I got fucking nailed on this trade because I was only basically still going break even, right? I wanted to only risk the 350 I just made. So I get taken out there because of this wick. You can see we never actually inversed this 3-minute gap, but I was being a pussy, and I'm like, I can't turn this into a loss because of a stupid trade copier mistake. That is just not smart trading. So I went basically break even like I was on the first trade, and ended up down 350 on the new account and break even on the other 2 from that. But like I said, we're still respecting the 3-minute gap, and then we come back up and we've taken out those highs, so we're showing that we're still going to push through it. We get a 1 minute inversion there, and this, in my opinion, trade of the day. If you entered right here, we get obviously the pullback, and that doesn't play out at all. We get very strong displacement out of that gap, and we do have clear buy side targets with this 4 hour gap, and there's news coming out all over the place, guys. Again, if you haven't been listening, get this app on your phone, Financial Juice. It'll show you these red ones that come out. It'll give you a notification as it happens, right? So you can see that, oh, Trump said we're doing peace talks, I'm gonna hold this a little bit longer, or like vice versa, I'm gonna get the fuck out of this trade because he just said something super bearish, right? But this trade does go super far into profit, about $1,000, and it comes down, ends up taking me out for only 150 because, like I showed you guys, I added about a bunch of contracts, so I ended up pretty close to my entry, and that one ends up going break even. And guys, at this point, I'm just pissed because I know this is gonna play out, but I just wasn't managing it very great. If I was in for my original trade, I would have made about 4,000 today instead of 1,500. But like I said, I just had a little bit of poor management, and it kind of fucked me over. So it is what it is. But I did get back in the last time, which is the one that made me all my money. Again, this was a very good trade. If you did take this one, you couldn't really lose today on longs, to be honest. I don't know why people tried to short off this, which I didn't really understand. We do get a 3 minute inversion, one here and one here, but we still have this 5 minute gap we tapped into, and we had this one down here. I would have never shorted this, not in the market we've been in where we're just going straight up. And we do end up getting the 5 minute inversion here. I entered a little bit before we got that, but we do end up getting it. I entered off this very first 1 minute inversion, which again was a little bit riskier, but I was super confident we were going to go up and hit that. And if you guys wanted to play this a little bit safer, you very easily could have waited till we got this 5 minute inversion and entered right here, right as soon as this candle closes. There would have been no problem with that. You could have had your stops right there, lots of room to breathe, and there's absolutely no drawdown on this. You could have targeted right to where my TP was, and you would have banged a 1 to 8, which is fucking insane. Especially with some of the shitty price action we had for the past few months, that doesn't even seem imaginable. But I got in right here, and my stops were right about there, right below the 5 minute gap. So I was risking a little bit, not a crazy amount, but this one did end up getting stopped in profit, but it was a good amount of profit, so I'm not complaining. It did get taken out in profit right there, and then it runs to full TP, which would have been fucking nuts because that would have been over a 1 to 9 RR, and down to where I hit, I smacked about 1 to 3, 1 to 3.5. But realistically, I should have had almost a 1 to 10 if I didn't trail my stop in profit. But I figured we're trading within a 4 hour gap. We can't just go straight up forever. We did get a 3 minute inversion to the downside here, and it just barely takes me out, and then we pump right back up, which was kind of a piss off, but can't really complain when you have a, I don't know, what was it, $4,200 day, something like that. So yeah, really good fucking day, guys. It was pretty hard to lose today. The only way you lost is if you took a short. If you took longs, like it was like basically impossible to lose. Like, look at this 1 hour chart, guys. There's like literally like market opens right here, basically halfway on this candle, and we didn't have a single red candle all the way till 11 a.m. So 4.5 hours after market open, we didn't have one single red hourly candle. So if you took longs today, you cooked, and congratulations. If you took shorts today, you guys need to understand, first of all, higher time frame bias. Look at how much we're pumping. We're clearly pumping bullish. We had this 4-hour gap here that was completely untapped into. Very strong target. And on top of that, guys, if you guys, in today's age with Trump in office, you need to be paying attention to what's going on in the world. It didn't used to be like this. You didn't have to. I mean, you obviously helped if you had a little bit of an idea. But with Trump being as crazy as he fucking is right now, you gotta be involved on this shit. You have to be knowing stuff like this, right? Iran talks could be happening over the next 2 days in Pakistan. I entered this trade at 8.11. This came out at 8.20. What did I do after this came out? Size the fuck up. That's why I had 13 micros in that trade when I started at 4. Because you see something like that, and that is just going to push the market. And you just see him saying all this stuff. There's tweets, right? About him and Pakistan, Iran talks, all this coming out. Good news. That is what we want to see. So it gives you the opportunity to be comfortable in your position. And again, like I said, vice versa. If that was bad news, I'm making sure I'm break even right there. Or I'm taking my profits. And I'm not going to hold it to the moon like I did today. I don't even know how many points I caught, but like, if I would have held it from my original position, I caught like 300 points. I got a little bit fucked over by my trade cop here, but I still caught a good 100 points here, and I could have caught probably 200 if it went all the way to my take profit, which was exactly where we slowed down. Obviously, I would have got exited out a little bit earlier because of prop firm rules. I would have got taken out right about here. But that's still very close to TP. And again, guys, like you gotta be on top of that. You need to have your higher time frame bias dialed, and you need to be on top of what's going on with this conflict. When it's all over, I'm sure we won't have to use that as much. But while the war is on, please do yourself a favor. If you're listening to this, ignore everything else I said in this video. Just take away one thing. Get that fucking app, turn the notifications on, and you will print. Like, since I got that app, the results I've been seeing have like been insane because I'm sizing into positions when I see the good news come out. Like the $6,100 trade I hit the other day. I sized into that with 9 extra micros because I saw the news was going in the favor of the buy side, right? And like, don't get me wrong, even if I stayed in with 3 micros or whatever I started with, I still would have held it that long. But when I know the news is in my favor, it allows me to add positions and be comfortable having a tighter stop, right? I mean, my stop's going to be at break even regardless, but it gives me less room to play with if I'm adding positions, more room to play with if I just keep it how it is, right? So yeah. Please consider getting that app, guys. The rest of the week, Forex Factory-wise, is dead. We have no red folders. FOMC member speaking on Friday, but that usually does fuck all. So, yeah, whatever's going to happen with Iran is going to happen. But ultimately, we are still looking very bullish. We are obviously due for a little bit of a pullback. But do not go for shorts until we inverse some sort of higher time frame gap or we respect this gap. Please, for the love of God, do not short a market when it is trending this hard, or vice versa, long a market when it's trending this hard. You're just going to get cooked. So, yeah, that being said, I think that's going to wrap this one up here. Hopefully tomorrow and the rest of the week goes good for all you guys, because this is when we need to capitalize and make some fucking money, when market conditions are good. So, yeah, if you guys did enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe as usual. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.